everyone. Welcome to Strand Media Co podcast. I'm so excited for us to film episode number 2 with one of my dearest friends, best friend in the industry, and someone I respect and admire so much. Liss, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Took a moment and I wrote down a few questions this morning. But before we get started, if you can spend a couple of minutes talking about yourself in case there are people listening that don't know
Oh,
who the famous, beautiful Liss is, if you can
uh,
tell me a bit about your background and you know what you
yeah,
do and all that good stuff.
sure. I own an email marketing company. We specialize in making oodles of money for clients on their email, SMS, and push. Um, I also am a partner in a company where we are matching creators on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube with brands, as well as helping brands get on TikTok Shop. So that's a newer venture.
Wow, I love that.
Hmm.
Especially with, 2026, that's incredible. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it this morning, and when you are a kid and you think about jobs you're going to have when you grow up, I think list manager is not one of those things that you're a kid and you're thinking, I want to be a list manager when I grow up. How did you
Yeah.
actually end up here? And what was the moment you realized this was the business, not just the service?
Yeah, so my degree is actually not in marketing or copy or any of those things that a list manager does. My degree is actually in chemistry and microbiology. So I was a microbiologist chemist for several different food companies after I graduated from college. 5, 10 years into that, got married, had kids. The hours just weren't great for my kids. I often had to be at camp to start the line at 5 a.m. So I got my teaching certification. I started teaching high school science, and I really enjoyed that a lot. The kids are amazing. Um, and during this time, I also started teaching at my local gym. So I was teaching Pilates. And after having kids, I just felt like my body was not what it should be to be a gym teacher. And take what you will from that, but it was just how I felt.
Mm,
And so I started looking into programs online to kind of get where I needed to be. And I found this program called the Venus Factor, and I won their 12-week transformation contest. So I lost. It actually ended up being that this is the only time they ever did a 20-week transformation contest. I lost close to 50 pounds in 20 weeks.
wow.
And I mean, it was crazy the like before and after photo. So anyhow, at the time, podcasts were huge still then. They were just starting to be a really big deal. This is 2012. Um, and so I got on a podcast with one of the owners of that company, and we just hit it off immediately. Like, to this day, he's one of my closest friends. He was at my wedding. Um, and that company that year just exploded. Still probably one of the biggest programs of all time for women.
I agree.
And they couldn't keep up. They had a forum. Um, and so they asked me if I could work like part time for them, like 20 hours a week and work in the forum. And so I would do that at school on like my teaching breaks after school. Obviously, as a teacher, you get home at a decent hour. And then in the summer, I was pretty wide open. So after doing that, I probably did that for 3 years. I their email list manager quit out of the blue, and they
Mm.
asked me to do that because by this point I was doing other odds and ends for them as well besides the forum. And I did 17 times the first month what the professional list manager had done the previous
17
month.
times? Oh my god! And this was
Yes.
the first time you touched, like
Yeah.
a list or run
Yeah.
into. Wow.
So the thing that he left me that I was very thankful was is he left me very good statistics. And like I said, I have a science background. So in that time, I just started sorting and seeing like, well, he sent this and it did well, and he hadn't sent it in a year, so I tried that. And as I scheduled things and they continued to do well, I got a feel for what worked and what didn't. So I just treated it like a giant science experiment. From that moment, those 4 partners took me to their own brands that were separate from each other, and they told their friends, and one of their partners took me aside and said, "Look, you've got a gift at this, and I really think that you need to share this with other businesses." And he brought me my first client outside friends of friends. Honestly, I'm so thankful and grateful to him because I don't know if I would have ever taken that and, like, ran with it as a business, you know?
Yep. It was meant to be if you think about it.
He's
I'm
so
not
very
grateful
grateful.
that you didn't feel like, that your body wasn't where you felt that, you did it at, but in a way it, opened the gates to this beautiful industry. So that's
Yeah,
pretty fantastic.
yeah, yeah.
All right. From your seat managing so many offers and so many relationships in our industry, what makes a list rental partnership actually work long term versus fizzle out in a few cents?
There's a couple of things. The number one thing is that I can know without hesitation that my clients are gonna get paid. If if that is a question whatsoever, then we're not doing to do business. It's not my money to gamble. Does that make
Mm,
sense?
absolutely.
So my responsibility ultimately is to my clients and knowing that they're gonna get paid. The next one is that oftentimes, with list rentals, it doesn't work out for the buy. So sometimes these buys are, you hit it out of the park and your
Mm-hmm.
client is so happy. But what happens if your client's not? The way the list rental is priced at kind of an average. So like it's great because it's almost like guaranteed money, it is guaranteed money. But if I have to take up so many slots for make goods, now we're below average. So I also have to ensure that whatever we're testing or whatever we're sending in the rental, that I can trust the rental company to not over request make goods.
Mm, makes sense. And how do you pick winners? I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years, and usually when I look at a VSL, I kind of can tell if it's going to be a good one or not. But it's probably really different for you when you're looking at an
Yeah,
offer and you're thinking, I should
yeah,
put this in front of a list. What tells you is
yeah.
going to convert before you send, or it's no way of knowing?
If i- like you said, you can tell if they put a lot of thought, effort, and
Mm.
time into creating the lander. You still don't know if it's going to do well. Um, And so I think it's the combination of it. Does it look like they've done their homework? And then B has an offer similar to that hit on this list before. I have lists that are more weight loss, and it doesn't matter how many like toenail fungus offers I send, they just for whatever reason that list just does not respond to those. You know what I mean?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
you think that they should, but they don't.
Mm.
So if they've never historically done well, then what are we doing?
So ultimately, I guess it's just testing. And I know
It really is.
you and
It
your
really
team
is.
have always done such a good job keeping track of everything and the data and knowing what did well, what didn't. I was so impressed one time when you showed me, like, you just open your spreadsheets and it was so easy for you to tell, oh, this offer did great in this month with this creative. And I was like, oh my gosh, so that's what it takes. You have to be so detailed with everything that
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah, the statistics that we keep on a list are extremely thorough. They're done in a way that it's easy to sort, so that we can see, we can sort by offer, we can sort by term, we can sort by opens or clicks or money or, however you want to look at something, you got to be able to sort it in that manner. So that's how we keep our statistics because in my opinion, the data that's there is the best way to guide you forward. And I
Makes
think that's
sense.
a problem with a lot of
List
oftentimes folks,
managers.
yeah, they get creative to
Mm.
run lists because in their minds the copy and which I mean you're not wrong, but the thing with creatives is they don't look at data and the data to me is like everything with the list.
Yep. No, you're right. I mean, no, on our end is the same. Okay, getting into the money because it's always in our industry is the problem with, obviously wanting to make the client happy. So for you and your team, let's say your incentive is revenue percent, but then the
Mhm.
list owner, his incentive or her incentive is how that list is going to be worth something in 3 years. Where
Yeah.
do those two things actually pull against each other? Or how do you usually decide, am I going to build this brand? Am I going to, listen to the direction of the client? Do you listen to your gut? I think it's always really hard to predict.
When we onboard a client, that is one of the first questions that we bring up in onboarding. So the client is whatever the client wants is what we're doing. It doesn't matter what I think. Um, so if the client's long-term goal is subscription recurring, that list is ran completely different. If that client's goal is to build the list is ran that way. If the client's goal is money, then it's ran that way. 9 times out of 10, the client's goal is money, and so that's what we do, but it's not always their goal, and when money's not the goal, then we run it accordingly. Um,
Well, yeah.
I'm a
And
steward of it. It's not my decision.
I like that. And usually, I mean, at the end of the day, it's listening to clients is paramount because they're the ones,
That's
in charge of
exactly
their budget, obviously.
it.
But does it ever happen when you tell a client to mail less? And do they listen to you? Like, is it a matter of, when you tell them maybe they want more cents? Or in your case, you've noticed the more cents, the better?
So I've never had a client necessarily say, well, sometimes I have clients, they wanna send more than what we
Mm,
send,
got
and
it.
so we'll do that for them, and we'll say, "Let's look back at this data." And if the data does what they're wanting, then that's fine. But sometimes what happens is, you think in your mind, oh, send more and more money, period. It doesn't always work that way. Oftentimes, send more, you get deliverability problems and
Yeah.
less money. So you have to run the test and then see what it says. And sometimes it's fine for a week, but after 4 weeks, it's not. Or sometimes after 4 weeks, it's fine and we just keep going. So it's, again, goes back to the client. What the client wants is what we execute as long as it's good for the health of the list, then, and we just share the data back.
I like that. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
And I'm asking this because, in all the conversation I had, especially the last year with so many changes in our industry, I see how hard it is for product owners to get on the same page with the agencies or like the list that they're working.
Yes.
So that's why I wanted a lot of the
Mhm.
question because you're someone that everyone enjoys working with. And, it's good to see how you do things and,
Yeah.
how you get clients to be excited about your work. Okay. What's the honest lifespan of a neutral list? Because I know how long it takes usually for an offer, but for the list,
Yeah.
let's say from acquisition to the point where it's not worth mailing at all. And what's the single biggest thing that shortens the lifespan of a neutral list?
I've never actually got to ride a list out to its death. It's
Ooh.
so long that we went a year after and it was still profitable.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
impressive. That as a
Yeah.
parenthesis to everyone listening today, if you have a list and if you have customer list and you're not doing anything with that because oh my gosh, I heard that so many times the last year. It's incredible to me that,
Mhm.
even a year after, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. The other thing to that, like if you are listening, that tells me that if you're having problems in the front end, that that gives you a year buffer or more to figure it out and still be making money. And that is the biggest obstacle to the list is when you don't have new subscribers coming in. That's the biggest issue with the list. So at some point you're gonna start getting deliverability issues because you don't have new subscribers coming in. And new subscribers are the lifeblood of a list. So at some point it will become so small that it's not profitable anymore. But the lists that I've had that the front end turned off were so big that even so we're at a year now, and now the
Mhm.
business is, like, breaking up and dissolving, so it was still profitable, but the actual business went under, so
Got
it's
it.
just it's very interesting.
So let's say, someone is listening to our podcast, they have an offer. I've noticed many offer owners, they start with Facebook, with Meta. They either hire an agency or they do it in-house. When is the point where they should look at a list manager or deciding to work with the list manager? Should it be the first thing they do or maybe the first 90 days after setting something live? What's your advice?
So it really comes down to how fast the list is building. So typically, customers are worth about $1.50 a month, and leads are worth about 30 cents a month. So if you plan to have, several thousand customers in your first month, it behooves you to start with the list manager from the first day. If the growth is going rather slow, that's when you're kinda like you're probably gonna be negative those first few months. Some people are like, "That's fine, I'd rather have a pro setting it all up from day one," whereas other people are a little bit more cash sensitive, which I understand, and they wanna see a certain number. Um, so I mean, if you're wanting to be profitable, you probably need a couple thousand customers on your list to be profitable. But ultimately, you never know. If it's something that's super, expensive on the front end, just a few hundred customers could be profitable.
True, especially if they have. I've noticed a lot of the products that started doing well in our space, like beauty gadgets, maybe like a skin gadget that's in
Mhm.
like $200 for one
Yeah,
product.
yeah,
That's much easier to,
yeah. That
yeah.
that that subscriber is worth a lot more money, and it's gonna generate a lot more money a month. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. What's something you were completely certain about in 2012 that turned out to be wrong? Or let's
Uh,
say 10, 12, 15 years ago, and you're like, whoa, I
yeah,
didn't see that
so
coming.
yeah, when I started, supplements were not a thing. Nutra was not a thing.
Such a good
So
point. Remember the digital
yeah,
offers?
yeah, Venus was one of the first Nutra products on ClickBank, actually. They created a supplement. Those guys' backgrounds was actually in Nutra. They used to, be formulators for a big brand. Um, and that was a big game changer when it went from info products to Nutra, and then that also paved the way for, like, physical products. There
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't any at that time, so it's been very interesting to see the evolution of you can truly get anything now in some of these, in the marketplaces on
Mm-hmm.
NextWeb or ClickBank, Digistore, Buy Goods. So,
I
um,
agree. It changed so I
yeah,
completely forgot. We've been doing this for so long, and
yep,
digital were the first ones. You're right. I probably would have thought about like different traffic sources 15 years ago, but
hmm
uh, the supplements really, really exploded.
yeah, it totally changed the game. Also, just like the difference in deliverability from then to now.
Mm.
Back in 2012, the inboxes were not as intelligent. There was no AI. You could just email and it would go right to people's inboxes. Gosh, I miss that.
My gosh, me too, me too.
Yeah.
To that point, Google and Yahoo's bulk sender rules, I feel like they were supposed to be an extinction event for people that do what we do.
Mhm. Mhm.
But who actually died and who actually got better? What do you think
Mhm.
differentiate people that still do email and are around today? What did we do
Yeah.
different?
Well, the thing that I've learned is any of these extinction events, the iOS Apple update was another one.
Mm.
Every time we figure it out, right? Um, so you either adapt or you die, and we figured it out. And here we are, still adapting.
It's impressive because the industry has this habit of like, I feel like finding a channel, exhausting it, and moving on.
Yeah.
Maybe email is the exception, or maybe we're just further along the curve, but I don't know. Do you feel like email is going to be relevant in the next 5, 10 years, just as it
Oh
is
yeah.
now?
I think it's like physical mail. Like there's folks that are, acquaintances of ours who are just crushing it with direct mail. You know,
Wow.
what's the yeah, I mean, so I see email as the same thing. It's like it's never gonna go away.
I like the sound of that, especially, at Strand we do email.
Yeah,
It's a huge part of what
yeah,
we do.
yeah, so I think there'll probably be other channels we haven't even considered
True.
too. Yeah, so you got SMS and push right now, you've got direct mail and email, so there'll be another couple of new channels come up.
I
There
agree.
was an SMS back when I started, or
Oh my
push. Those
gosh.
are new channels too
Or
since I've started.
TikTok. So
Interesting.
besides adaptability, what's the difference between the operators that were here 10 years ago with us and the ones that are not?
I think, in a word, true professionals. I think people that come in with the idea of they're gonna make all this money, and those aren't the ones who stay. Like, the ones that stay are building an empire, and they adapt, they change, they grow with however is relevant for the day, and, the folks that are just here to make a quick buck, I think those are the ones, or the people the people that just aren't good people. Our industry
I
is
say it
very
all the
technical.
time. I
Mhm.
agree. And I know it sounds cheesy and I say it all the time, but if you're not going to lead with kindness, of course, you can make a lot of money overnight. You can be quite rich the first 1, 2, 3, 5 years. But after a while, it's just, I've seen it, especially in our space. Like the good people just continue doing well. And I think that's the easiest explanation is because in business, like in your personal life, you choose to work with people that you trust. So
Mhm.
people that are still relevant today are the people that are very trustworthy and they don't make the business decision based on money alone. Uh,
Yeah. We're also not all islands, right? So, having really deep relationships across the industry only helps you. I can't even tell you how many times you've given referrals to me or told me I needed to talk to somebody, and those events have led to deeper and deeper relationships and business growth. And is from a friendship,
Absolutely.
like when, when Anka said we are very close friends even outside of business, and I would trust her with, like, my children, my dogs. It goes into
Same,
every avenue of business too because I trust you implicitly.
same.
I can
Yep.
tell you if I'm having really serious issues, and I know it's gonna stop with you're a vault, so
Oh,
we can have
always.
very deep relationship and deep talks and have that trust. I don't know if there are bad people or just people who struggle to do what's right. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I do.
Those
I
kind of
really
people, I
do.
think they get pushed out to the fringes, and when you're an
Hmm.
island, nobody's gonna help you.
I think honestly, and I thought about this a lot, and it's people that put in the work or they don't. I think it's at the
Yeah,
end of if you put the work with yourself to with your own frustration, with your all stress, you can see it from like miles away, and
yeah,
that's the easiest way to think about it. But
yeah.
yeah, all right. Sorry. This will next time we'll do a podcast and we're only gonna talk about mindset and like the kindness aspect because this is my favorite.
I would love that.
Yes. Okay. So AI, because I always joke because at every podcast or big speech that I had last year, everyone asked me about AI, but obviously it's so relevant. And I've noticed that
Mhm,
a lot of people, if not everyone, is writing emails with AI. Do you
mhm.
think AI has raised the floor or lowered the ceiling or just made everything sound the same? And what does that do to a list that's used to specific voices?
Mm, okay, that's a loaded question. So for me, AI is a great help tool. It is not the end all be all. So sometimes it'll give me some subject lines to cross test. So like maybe one or two are from me and then one or two from AI.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it'll help me rewrite an email. So we have this winner and I just can't beat it, and AI will help me rewrite that. Now, when I say AI rewrote it rewrote it, but then I rewrote it again because I don't just
Smart.
take guys, like, I can't stress this enough. Whatever it spits out, you still are gonna have to put some effort
A
into
hundred
it.
percent.
And then same thing with images. It does a great job too for images and emails. So it's a help tool. It's not the end all be all. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it definitely if you put the work into that going back, it
I agree. That's honestly, at the end of the day, that's the honest truth. It's a beautiful resource and help, but it's just a
yeah,
support tool for
yeah,
brilliant people. It's not going to replace what I do or what you do.
yeah.
And okay,
Well,
open rates are increasingly fiction and clicks are getting obscured. What's the metric you've built the business on for the next 5 years? Like, if you would choose a metric, like open
yeah,
rates, conversion rate,
yeah.
what would be the most important to look at? Lifetime value of the client. What's the metric that's really important to look at?
I think honestly, it's a totality thing. For most of my list, honestly, it's revenue. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
if the revenue is growing and all the rest of the rates are healthy, then like we're doing good, right? It's when it's not that's when we have the issue. So revenue is falling. So now we start looking at open rates, click rates, also your segment sizes. So you just have to have a holistic view because as you said, the open rates can be fictitious, the click rates can be fictitious, but we also have to base it on something. So we compare those things. So whenever I'm looking at how something did, I look at the whole week around it. So
Mm,
oftentimes an off runner is just waiting. Can I see that something made money? Can you tell me did it do good or not? And I'm like, I need another week because I need to look at how everything else did. Like, sure, it made money, but if it made the worst money of the week, did it really,
smart.
Um, so and I know offer owners get frustrated with me because I don't respond just like that, but I do have to look at it in totality, and then even then I'm looking at did it perform under average, average, or above average? And we're looking at average and above average ideally are the
Mm-hmm.
things that we're going to keep spinning on and testing. So
Listening to you explain how you would, tell a product owner to, just wait or look at the data. If you're a product owner and you want to hire a list manager, what are some flags that you should be really careful with? Green or red? Like, what's really important? What maybe a list manager should advise on, or what's something that should be like a big red flag if a list manager tells you? Just some advice if there are, people that don't have a list manager yet, what to look for.
Honestly, the number one thing is gonna be reputation. So how do
Mm,
other people speak of this person or this team? Oftentimes, if you get several folks in a row that have issues, that's an issue.
yeah.
If you talk to several people and everybody has nothing but positive things to say, that's obviously a go. That people's experiences are pretty much gonna trump everything. The other thing I think is just like so much certainty. I often get on a onboarding call and they're like, "How much do you expect to make a month?" And I'm just like, "I'm not a crystal ball reader." Like, it doesn't matter how many subs you think you have if none of them are opening and clicking. And
Exactly.
yeah, so I understand from their viewpoint what they want to know if is this making financial sense. But on my end, if I can just spit a number out, I mean, I can tell you what I think it should make, but it's just honestly a guess. And I say that and they
Mm.
folks don't like to hear that, but if somebody's telling you all these certainty numbers, that's another one like
That's
I
honestly, to me, it's a good flag when people say, look, I can promise traffic. Because if you can promise traffic, no matter how good you are, that's ridiculous. You don't know. It can look
yeah.
good, the offer can look strong,
Mhm.
and, we can say that looks like something, we can really crush for
Yeah.
you. But like you
Yeah.
said, it's impossible to promise or be a crystal ball for how the campaign is
Yeah.
going to do. So you're right.
I
That's
mean, and
such an
it's
important
unfortunate
thing.
you wanna say, you wanna say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we can do XYZ," but the reality is we don't know until we try it, so
Exactly. No, that's a great one. And to everyone listening, if you get on a call with an agency or a list manager, usually when people overpromise, that's definitely a red flag.
yeah, I think so too.
Okay, thinking about subject lines because this is always like mind blowing to me. Kind of like with headlines, I've noticed the headline can change the entire offer. Same with subject lines. Do you have any examples in mind of a subject line that shouldn't work, but it does? Like a cool example or anything like that?
Yeah, usually the ones that almost always work are really short and weird. So like missing you
Mm.
or I think you forgot this name field. Also just really dumb ones like cheeseburger to a weight loss list.
That's those you gave me 3, not just 1, but the cheeseburger one I really like.
Yeah, so usually pretty, but then on the flip side, like longer ones often work too. It's just those ones tend to be curiosity driven. So it's like why you don't like mind games, why puzzles don't work from memory, or what, like, oh, that's not what you always hear. You always hear that puzzles work from memory. Why is that? So
Exactly. That's a great
a
one.
lot
Thank you.
curiosity and counterintuitive subject lines usually work the best.
I love that. You write, or your team writes in the voice of the list, maybe not always the brand. What's the tell that a writer doesn't understand the list they're writing to?
Well, a really dumb one is I versus we. So
Mm,
some lists are from like a brand, which is like a we or a team,
mm-hmm.
and some lists are from a person, so I. So seeing those words intermingled like in their
Mm-hmm.
copy, that's a big one. Also, whether it's a man or a female. I'm just thinking of one of my lists right now. One of my most profitable lists is a male list, but it's from a woman, which is unusual. Usually male lists are from men.
True, true.
Getting that copy right from a female talking to a man, it takes a lot of thought.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. So
What
those are some easy ones.
No, but very important. What about
Yeah.
tools? I mean, w- people used to have debates over maybe using Maripost or Clavio. What are some tools that you feel like they're
Yeah.
safe for everyone to use?
So the first thing I would ask you is this like for e-commerce or are we doing affiliate marketing? So it depends on the needs of the list. So like we've talked about earlier, I come in with whatever the client needs. So we run like e-commerce lists and we run affiliate lists and we run everything in between.
So
So
it's
like
it's
e-com,
what's the why is it important? And I think I know the answer because for
yeah. So like
affiliates,
Klaviyo is amazing for e-commerce lists, but they don't allow affiliate marketing. And the moment
mm,
you send an affiliate offer, they're gonna literally you can send one and they will shut your account.
such a good point. So everyone,
Yeah. So
Clavio,
you've done
wonderful,
all
but
this
not for
work.
affiliates.
Yeah, so Klaviyo is great for e-commerce, but you can't do affiliate marketing. As far as affiliate, and you can do e-commerce on these other platforms I'm fixing to say, but affiliate is a big thing that you really have to have explicit confirmation that you can mail affiliate offers. Third party marketing. So Entreport's a great one. Tiny Email's another great one. Maropost, it depends. So
Hmm.
that platform used to be one of my favorite of all time. I think they're kind of trying to go against Klaviyo, so it's gonna be the right client for that one, which is
Got it.
unfortunate because
I've heard that.
it's one of
I've
my
heard
favorite.
that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I have like Grant List grandfathered in on that platform, and I really enjoy it. But I've not been bringing many new clients to them, unfortunately.
makes sense. No, I heard the same. Okay, give me an example of a segment most people ignore where it's quietly worth a lot. Maybe survival or I don't know, any cool
So
niches like that.
the one I'll tell you that most people don't know is mail offers. So enhancement, ED, pickup seduction lists for
Yeah,
whatever reason. I think it's because you can't talk about those topics on TikTok or Facebook.
true. Such a good
And
point.
so email is one of the last places they can really get relevant information on those topics without censorship. So those lists are worth a fortune and they are cash cows.
Amazing. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of strong offers in that category. So
Mhm.
I'm glad you shared it.
but it is very entertaining to write those emails.
I bet. Oh my gosh. And you're right. People like are not comfortable. Like I remember even friends that had supplements in the male enhancement category, they would always say how the refund rate was usually lower because people don't even want to send the products back. So yeah, I can imagine not wanting to reshare stuff on Insta or TikTok about it, and
Yeah.
reading or chatting with someone via email is gonna be way easier.
Yeah, yeah. I think just one of those things that since it's not allowed on TikTok or Facebook, fundamentally will be very strong on email.
Great point. Okay, let's say if you handed your business to someone tomorrow, what's the one thing you tell them that they wouldn't believe until they saw it themselves?
The amount of work that it takes to have a successful list. I touch every single one of my clients' lists. We stopped so if when I run out of bandwidth, we stop taking clients. And the reason is I realized over time I am the secret sauce, right? So if I don't have time to touch a list, then it's not fair to that client ultimately. So I am the bottleneck. So I think people have a hard time. I think if somebody came into my business, they would be like, "This is the most horrible business model. You're a bottleneck." But it's like I have tried to not
Hmm.
be, and ultimately it goes back to what's best for the client. And me touching the list is what's best for the client. So that's what we do. So
I'm so happy you're honest, Liz, because honestly, that's the truth for most of the businesses that are very successful. And it's the same with Strand. Stuff works well because everyone is very involved. And I can see why you had this superpower. Imagine going back to the beginning of our podcast, when you first touched that Venus list, the first time, your first month, I think you said was 17 times better in profits than before. So you can get people to help you with like the upside or making
yep,
sure, the copy pasting of stuff it's there,
yep,
but you touching the list makes perfect sense, honestly.
yeah. Yeah, anybody can upload whatever I say to, and anybody can fill in data, but I have to actually be who's commanding what's going out to the list.
I like
It's
that.
oh, yeah,
And I'm so glad you were honest because that's the
yeah,
case for a lot of good businesses.
yeah.
Okay, conferences. I've had the pleasure to see you recently in Budapest, which was so amazing.
Oh, it was the
And
best.
what's your
What's
opinion
your
on
opinion?
conferences? Because I know a lot of people say, well, you can do the same thing, just getting on a lot of Zoom calls.
Mhm,
I personally, and not a lot of people know this, I don't enjoy traveling,
yeah.
but I love to see my friends. So it's always like a wonderful plus to get to see people that I haven't seen in forever. But do you think conferences, from a business perspective, are they important to our industry and to, maintain your business relationship and whatnot?
Yeah, I do at the end of the day think that conferences are super important. So, 2016 was the first year I went to a conference, and I like that year was huge for my business. I wanna say we 3x or 4x that year. It was exponential, and it was from going to my first conference. And just there is no replacing shaking someone's hand or hugging them, looking them in the eye, and having an in-person conversation. What we're doing is no substitute for us sitting down at dinner and hugging each other in Budapest, you
Yes.
know? Know who you are because we've seen each other so much
Exactly.
in real life, but
Exactly.
until you've interacted in real life, this is not the same.
I agree.
Um, but then on the flip side to that, like, there was another conference a week after the one that I saw you at, and I don't know how you did it. You went to that, and then you went to another one. So she's off the back of 3 conferences, guys, and working hard today. Yeah. And I'm just like, there is no way that that much back to back was I think you
What?
coulda went to one of the 3 and
Oh,
had
absolutely,
just as much.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a people pleaser, and sometimes I say yes, and I like, I had a big speech, so when you commit to a
Yeah.
speech, it's so important
Yes.
to
Yeah.
make sure
And I
everyone is.
think speaking is different than attending. I will say that as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's good for
Um,
business too, both,
it's good for
attending and
businesses.
putting
Yeah,
yourself out
than
there.
just attending. But, you can be at every single conference, and it actually probably hinder your business 'cause when you're at these conferences, you don't have time to work. We put in 12-hour days at these conferences. I know it looks glamorous and fun on our photos, but it is a lot of work, and it's
So much.
exhausting. It's exhausting, and being on, this is what I struggle with the most, and I don't care, I'll share freely. Being on for me all the time is so exhausting, and I am such an empath that I feel this need to make sure whoever I'm speaking with isn't uncomfortable or feeling awkward, and it just drains my battery.
I bet.
And I know that's a me problem, it's not a them problem, but I just want my interactions with people to be positive and for them
Same.
to not feel 'cause a lot of people in our industry are not extroverted, and it's very difficult for an introvert to go into these environments. And so, like, that exhaustion of just smoothing over every social interaction is very exhausting to
I
me.
agree, and I'm so happy you're honest about it. They feel the same, and they think that it's so easy because they look up to Liz, and everyone knows you, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, she's probably so easy for Liz to be there all day because she's so." And the fact that you shared that, it's hard. It's tough to be on 24/7. It
It
helps other people
yeah,
knowing it's okay and it's normal.
yeah. It's okay, and, like, you'll see, like, at conferences, sometimes me and Uncle will be in the corner because we just need a minute to, like, charge our battery.
Exactly,
So if you
100%.
ever see me in the corner with 1 or 2 people, that's all I'm doing. It's not that I don't wanna be there or see you, I just sometimes I need a minute because I am, like, dying of exhaustion, and I don't want that to be put onto you.
100%. Oh my gosh. Okay, I just looked at the clock here, and I try to keep the podcast to
Mm.
30-40 minutes. We're
Oh,
over, so I will do one more question, and then I
okay.
promise we'll try to wrap it up. What question does nobody ask you, but you wish they would? Something they would like to
Oh.
share with us. It can be business related, but also personal.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna ask myself something. My I always try to have like a yearly grow goal to grow myself.
Hmm,
And since we've gotten into working on TikTok, I decided I would commit to posting once a day on TikTok this year and building my own brand. It has been so much work, but it's been the most interesting thing because it's unlike email. So I kind of split my videos up into like I do like email videos. I do some real estate. I have a real estate company for those listening. That's another thing that I do.
so
My
cool.
husband's a custom home builder. And then I do some like beauty and fashion, which is just something I enjoy as a hobby.
So much
Um,
fun. I love your beauty content. It's like, "Ooh, I
so
need to try that."
I had this Kibby body top video go viral. It's had like 7 million views. And of all the things I talk about, that is not something I'm really an expert on. I'm just geeking out on it. And so it's
But
just been
probably
so
that's
interesting.
why, Liz. That's so cool. I had no idea they went viral, but I looked at it and I was studying it too. Like I was like, "Ooh,
Mhm.
that's so interesting. I never thought about that."
Yeah.
So cool.
Yes. Yeah, it's just been so random. So anyway, so I'm learning how to grow a TikTok audience this year, and it's been so easy and yet so challenging.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast. If
Thank you
our
for having me.
audience and our friends or whoever wants to reach out to you, what's the easiest way for them to do so?
I have an Instagram, a Facebook, a TikTok, just Liss Ellis on any of those. So just reach
And we
out.
will also add all of that information in the comments, darlings. And Liz, thank you again so much. You are the best, and I appreciate you tremendously.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. I just love getting to chat with you.